Hey guys, what is going on? Today's video is going to be a little bit different here. I think Sledgehammer Games have actually sort of given up on Vanguard. Same as the rest of like the Call of Duty studios. I just think they haven't really put too much effort into the Season 4 update for Vanguard. And the same sort of applied to the Season 3 update as well. We have sort of been seeing a little bit less content getting added to the game recently. They sort of know this game is already struggling and it's basically on its last legs. I think we are only getting 5 seasons in this game anyway. And then we are going to be moving into Modern Warfare 2. But I mean, just the content that we've been receiving in some of these major updates, like your Season 3 and your Season 4 update, have just been a little lackluster in my opinion. Especially if they are wanting to look at bringing people back into the game, getting people like who still own the game by chance and just don't play it. They see the Season 4 update and they look at the content and they're like, they last about 60 days and you get one new map and it's supposed to last you about a month, which is just like, that's not great. And then you get another map after those 30 days and that's supposed to last you another month as well. You do get another gun included with that second map, but I mean, come on, bro, I'm serious. Like, when we do get these content updates, I want to see at least 2 maps in these updates, man. Like basically all I want to see when I do see the season update roll around is just more maps and more guns get added to the game. It's pretty simple. I'm not a big operator guy. I'm not a big different game mode guy. It doesn't really matter too much to me if we add new game modes and stuff like gun game. I'm sure some of you out there are big gun game fans. I like it from time to time, but it's not the reason why I play the game. But when I see that the updates are going to include one map that basically lasts for 30 days until the mid-season update, which is one of the worst maps the game has ever seen. We haven't seen the USS Texas 1945 in Vanguard yet, so we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, USS Texas originally was not a particularly well-received map, so bringing it back is obviously going to cause a little bit of controversy, but if they do end up changing it and it's a positive, I'll eat my words here, that's fine. But I mean, if it does fail and people really don't like or end up liking the USS Texas in Vanguard, I mean, they've basically got nothing to play, or nothing new to play for like at least a month until the next map does come out. Now, Desolation does actually sound quite cool. It's basically like a little bit of a jungle-based listening post, a small to medium-sized map, which is where they've done some of their best map work this year. Like the small to medium stuff, pretty good. So I can't really comment too much on how good or bad Desolation is gonna be, but it does look kind of neat. But the USS Texas 45 would have gone very, very nicely together with the new Desolation map. Say we just sort of rotate between these two maps, you have a playlist that has both of them in it, and you sort of switch between them. Game ends up being not too bad, especially if one of the maps does end up being bad, like the USS Texas 45 may end up being bad, but we'll have to wait and see. And then Desolation being good, you can just play that. You just be like, yep, we're having this, and this is pretty good. But when we do only see 2 new maps for the entirety of the 60-day season, that is really, really not great. Like, I just want more map content in my game so I don't get bored of playing the same map over and over again, especially if the map isn't particularly good, like Texas. And the same thing basically happened in Season 3 as well. We did really only get 2 maps in that season as well, which is not ideal, but the maps in that season were not too bad, so it's a little bit of a pass here, because Mayhem and Sphere actually ended up being pretty good. I really, really do enjoy both of those maps. Mayhem's a little bit simple, but I mean, Sphere, really, really great map in the game. So I really like that addition, and I'm not too unhappy with the Season 3 content. But when you do see the numbers for the game, like people are hating on Vanguard pretty much everywhere, and they just release 2 maps and just phone it in. One map comes out at the start of the season with 2 new guns, and you're just like, well, another season of kind of being bored. Also does come down to a content creator kind of perspective. What I do usually like to do when the new map content does drop is, of course, make the map guides. Now, those videos usually do quite well. They usually get like 100 views, couple of 100 views, sometimes more than that, sometimes a couple of thousand, depending on whether the map is popular or not, whether the game's still alive, and so on. Like some of the original map guides from like Black Ops, Cold War, and stuff like that, Modern Warfare, they did super, super well. Like I got thousands of views on those videos, and I just want to be able to make videos to tell you about some of the maps that we are getting in the updates. It usually does quite well for the channel, so it is a little bit of a personal thing, but when we only get one new map on the update, we only get one video to make on that, and that is obviously not ideal. So it is a little bit of a selfish reason for me to want more map content in these updates, but I mean, it's just a good thing for the game. But again, as I was saying, USS Texas 1945 might end up being actually good. They might end up stopping it from being like a linear sort of medium to long range line of sight just down the straits with sort of spawn traps and stuff like that. If they do end up changing that aspect of the map, it could end up being quite good. But again, we have to wait and see how it does perform. But Desolation does look quite cool with that sort of listening post on the jungle map. That actually looks really, really cool. So I can't wait for that in the mid-season updates, which is literally a month from now. Oh, that is very upsetting. I would just love to have seen a third map, even if it was a remake in the mid-season update like they did in Cold War. The update in one of the seasons when they brought out 2 maps and then they brought out Standoff was an all-time update for me. They also released a new gun in that update and it was actually very, very cool. The mid-season update definitely should be a little bit smaller. Obviously, you're not going to get 2 guns, 2 maps and stuff like that. It should basically just be a new map and a new gun, and that's what they do for the most part. But the start of the season should be a larger piece of content, man. You should get like 2 maps minimum, in my opinion. 2 guns is usually okay, as they do come in the battle pass, but maybe throw in the melee weapon at the start of the season, and then add 2 new guns in the mid-season update just to keep content going into the game, because I mean, just get a little bit dull sometimes, and I'm basically like the #1 Vanguard supporter in the entire world. You guys know the channel by now. I'm not going to ditch Vanguard until basically the game is over, or until the videos start getting like 1 or 2 views, and that's just not, it's just not good. But I mean, it does make it a little bit difficult when I see there's not too much content coming in the update. Of course, Shi No Numa is coming back in the round-based zombies experience, and I'm sure a little bit of dev time, or a fair chunk of dev time would have gone into that, so it might be a little bit harsh. But when you are talking about the main idea of your game being like your multiplayer stuff, almost your 6v6 being just the main game mode, you would want as much content as possible, in my opinion, in those updates, just to keep people playing, just to keep people interested, making the most of the update. Even people seeing the update and going, hey, yeah, I like those maps, that'd be pretty cool, let's try that out. And then they reinstall the game, have a decent time, and make some videos or start talking about it with their friends and so on. The game just sort of goes around in a little circle like that. But when you only add a minimum amount of content, it does feel like you are sort of giving up on the game, which is a little bit unfortunate, especially when people are still actively playing the game. Like, I look at Vanguard and I'm like, yeah, the game's not too bad. Like, some of the map content's pretty good, some of the guns feel nice, the game sounds pretty decent most of the time, like, it looks nice, like, I don't have too much of a problem with it. I know people absolutely hate the game and they rip on it all the time, but I mean, for the most part, Vanguard, in my opinion, is not too bad. I'm very, very excited about Modern Warfare 2, and hopefully we don't follow down a similar vein of sort of lacking content in the season updates and stuff like that. Like, if Modern Warfare 2 Season 1 does have like 1 map in the start and then 1 map in the mid-season update and we get like 3 guns total, again, that's going to be a little bit upsetting, especially since there is so much potential for those games, or particularly that game, to have so much extra map content getting added in the DLCs that, again, seeing 1 map get added at the start of the season and then 1 map in the middle of the season is just a little disheartening with these updates. So again, I think Sledgehammer Games have been phoning it in a little bit with these season updates, especially Season 3 and 4, especially since we are only getting 5 seasons allegedly in this game, so they did want to probably go all out with some of the content just to keep the people who are actually playing the game happy and still playing the game until the new game comes out. Because as we have seen, they have been using the like new COD game. They have been using the current COD game as like the vessel for advertising the new COD game, and if you want people to play it or be hyped about it, you should probably make the current COD game good too. It's just my opinion. But again, if you did enjoy this little rant and you do agree with me, or you did disagree with me, you think 2 maps is fine for an entire season update, make sure you do let me know in the comments. Leave a like on this one if you do like this style of rant video, just chatting to you guys about Call of Duty. It is one of my favorite things in the world. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it, and it really does help me out. And hopefully that does mean I will see you in the next one. Bye!